my name is Mensu Seno. For short, you can call me just Seno. I'm from Indonesia, and currently I'm working for Directorate General for Population and Civil Registration under Ministry of Home Affairs. In our institution, we are responsible regarding two main things. First, about the about the identity management, and the second thing is about the civil registration.
Kami mengidentifikasi ada 3 tantangan utama yang mendorong pengembangan identitas digital Indonesia yang kita sebut sebagai INAPAS melalui pendekatan DBI. Yang pertama adalah terkait dengan inklusivitas dan peningkatan pengalaman masyarakat dalam mengakses layanan publik. Indonesia kita ketahui sebagai negara yang sangat besar, sangat luas, terdiri lebih dari 17.000 pulau-pulau. Tentu saja ada kendala yang cukup signifikan dalam hal mengakses kantor pelayanan secara fisik. Di samping itu juga, tentu saja ada wilayah-wilayah yang secara infrastruktur juga berbeda-beda. Yang tentu saja ini sangat menjadi kendala dalam hal kalau kita pelayanan secara konvensional. Oleh karena itu, identitas digital bertujuan mengatasi hal tersebut untuk mempermudah akses bagi seluruh warga, termasuk mereka yang tinggal di daerah terpencil, kemudian juga yang lanjut usia dan juga penyandang disabilitas. Namun demikian, kita sadari betul seperti yang tadi saya sampaikan, bahwasanya Indonesia adalah negara yang sangat besar, sangat luas, lebih dari 17.000 pulau, kondisi infrastrukturnya berbeda-beda, termasuk juga adalah jaringan internetnya berbeda. Oleh karena itu kemudian, penerapan atau implementasi identitas digital tidak serta-merta menggantikan KTPL yang sifatnya konvensional. KTPL yang sekarang berlaku tetap akan berlaku, namun demikian secara bertahap akan tergantikan oleh identitas digital, walaupun pastinya tidak mungkin 100% tergantikan secara total. Kemudian yang kedua adalah terkait dengan aspek keamanan atau cyber security. Seiring dengan digitalisasi layanan publik, kebutuhan akan verifikasi identitas yang kuat tentu saja semakin mendesak. Dan kartu identitas fisik atau KTPL saat ini tidak sepenuhnya memadai dalam lingkungan digital, dalam ekosistem digital. Dan praktek pemindahan fisik itu juga rentan terhadap kebocoran data dan juga fraud ataupun penipuan. Oleh karena itulah kemudian kami dalam pengembangan DBI ini sungguh sangat memperhatikan, sangat memprioritaskan terkait aspek keamanan atau cyber security. Dalam berbagai kesempatan, atasan kami, Menteri Dalam Negeri, Bapak Muhammad Tito Karnavian, itu pun selalu menekankan aspek keamanan terkait dengan pengembangan DBI ini atau terkait dengan identitas digital. Jadi, identitas digital yang akan kita kembangkan jangan sampai kemudian mengabaikan aspek keamanan. Dan yang ketiga tentu saja adalah terkait dengan efisiensi biaya. Pendekatan DBI memungkinkan pemerintah dan sektor swasta untuk fokus pada bisnis inti tanpa perlu investasi besar dalam infrastruktur verifikasi identitasnya sendiri. Jadi kami mencoba melakukan perhitungan dan ternyata dengan penggunaan DBI ini akan kurang lebih terjadi penghematan yang cukup signifikan. Setahun kurang lebih bisa mencapai 29 triliun rupiah. Hitungannya dari mana? Hitungannya adalah andai kata kita perhitungkan hit verifikasi untuk demografi kurang lebih adalah 2 juta. Kemudian untuk biometrik kurang lebih 500.000 per hari.
Dukcapil actually established in 2001. It is when Indonesian government tried to reform population and civil registration system in Indonesia. Through that establishment, then Dukcapil tried to reform some aspect, something that related to Dukcapil, especially for recording of the population and civil registration through the computer system. We use what we call SIA, Sistem Informasi Administrasi Kependudukan Indonesia, Population Administration Information System, for recording any vital and population event, including the identity management in Indonesia. The system then deployed across the country at the time in the beginning of the organization around 2001. It is about 497 cities and regions around the country. So we have to deploy the system across the country. The deployment starting actually in the piloting until it is starting deployment around 2006. In 2006 until 2009, we deploy the system across the country. In 2009, for the first time, Indonesia government have our population database digitally, nationally and digitally. Through that, then Indonesian government tried new initiative, what we call to strengthening the population data in Indonesia through enrollment of biometric to strengthening the data. With our program, we call it EKTP program or National Electronic Identity Program. Through that National Identity Program, then a citizen that already have the unique ID number in Indonesia, we call it NIK, then completed with the biometric enrollment, multimodal biometric enrollment, to make sure that this unique identity really unique through the biometric deduplication. That's why when the program start in 2011, it is until 2013. Maybe at the time we already have around 100 million record. The data then being utilized in 2013. In 2013, there are small part of government institution try to use our data that is already have biometric and already unique through the biometric reduplication for the verification and authentication through the online verification method. Up to now, we already have 6,000, more than 6,000 government and private sector that become the relaying party, connect to our data to verify themselves through demographic matching or biometric matching for verification methodology. And lastly, in 2022, we develop also mobile application for digital identity. We call it in Indonesia Identitas Kependudukan Digital or Digital Identity for person or for citizen in Indonesia. Currently, based on the recording, based on the registration, yesterday we already have more than 7 million IKD registered across the country. And now, the utilization of the IKD or digital identity, we are starting piloting the utilization of the IKD or digital identity through some banks, especially local bank in East Java, and then BNI, one of national bank in our country, and also some of the micro banking in Indonesia. This is for banking. For the BNI Bank, they have new application, they call it Wonder. Wonder application for the mobile banking for BNI now can be registered through national national digital identity, what we call IKD in Indonesia. So currently the utilization of the Wonder mobile, more than 20,000 record verified through the national digital identity. So I think this is already a very good start for Indonesia in developing our digital identity as a foundation for national digital public infrastructure in Indonesia. Actually, not early 2000, but before we established our office, Dukcapil office, When this person still under Ministry of Home Affairs, we in 1995 we have another initiation to computerize the population and civil registration system through what we call a SIMDUK system back then to 1995. However, the system is not really work very well because of the every city and regency have their own silo system, so it is not integrated each other between city and regency across the country. So it is very difficult for us to create the national population database based on that silo system. That's why when this institution established in 2001, we create our national uh, computer system with this integrated each other, no silo local computer system. So we have one national system, but that national system then implemented locally. I mean, it is distributed in every city and regency. Because of the network at the time is not so good in Indonesia. That's why we implemented that method. But currently, since 2022, we already use national central application. So across the country, they hit one single application at the central to make sure that the data and the system really unique and also can be used nationally. This is the way. After that, we try to strengthening through the National Electronic Identity Card in 2011 through the biometric enrollment. Based on that biometric enrollment, then we move to another step. We in 2017, because in Indonesia, when we enroll National Electronic Identity Card, the physical card, we have to print it out, the physical card. When we print it out, the cost to print the physical card is very expensive. That's why we try to reduce the use of the printed card for the citizen. The idea to bring that physical card to the digital national identity that is in our mobile phone. The idea is like that: how to put the physical, or how to replace the physical ID to the digital format of the physical ID in the mobile phone. It is the beginning. The other journey is when we already have that in our application, just digitalize the physical. Then we need something for something that can identify our set in a digital environment. This idea coming when we have an idea to broad to broad our services to the community. At the time, the birth registration possession in Indonesia is still very low. That's why we have to increase the birth registration possession in Indonesia through online services. When we develop online services, then we have another difficulties. The difficulties that we face at the time is that we cannot identify the people who want to register the birth registration in online environment without knowing the people. That's why we think at the time we miss something. We need something that can identify someone that want to process the birth registration for the children in the online environment, in online interface to Dukcapil, and we have to make sure that the people or the individual who want to register the birth is the correct one. That's why we think that we need something that can identify someone online, digitally. This bring our idea to bring that our physical physical format of digital format of physical ID to the real digital ID that can identify someone in a online environment. And in 2019, we faced with another situation like COVID-19, right? In early 2020, we have to face with the COVID-19, and because of the government try to decided some kind of policy, personal distancing, then all the government services cannot do physically, so we have to create something a kind of online services for all of Dukcapil services across the country. We at the time tried to use a very simple one. For example, every local office provide a WhatsApp number for citizen to process their document and everything. Until some other try to develop, they call it a website, and the other try to develop the smartphone or mobile application, such as in Central Capital National Capital, our capital city Jakarta. They have their own mobile application for the Dukcapil services. They call it Alpukat Betawi. Still, when we try to use that online services, we face another situation, another problem that need to be solved. We cannot identify whether the people or the citizen who want to process the population and civil registration uh, services through the online method is the people who they claim to be. That's why we think we really need something that can identify us in a digital environment. That's why it is bring us it is make strong opinion that we really need something that we can identify someone in a digital environment. We call it digital identity. That's why in 2022 Indonesian government through Ministry of Home Affairs, Directorate General of Population and Civil Registration, introduced, we call it Ministry Regulation Number 72, 2022, regarding the implementation of National Digital Identity. And now that application already registered more than 11 million citizen already download and register that mobile ID or digital identity. In the beginning, we have a computer system in 1995, but the computer system is silo each other, so it cannot create a national database. Then we fix that situation through developing our national system that is more integrated each other. We call it SIA system, Sistem Informasi Administrasi Kependudukan or Population Administration Information System. This system starting deployed across the country in 2006 until 2009 across the country. At the time, we have 497 city agency in Indonesia. So it is deployed in each country. In 2009, then we try, when we already have the national population database, we try to strengthening the data. We make the data more unique through the biometric enrollment. Through our program, we call it National Electronic Identity Program in 2011. In 2011, we are enrolled citizen that already have an NIK, already have the citizen number, citizen unique number, and strengthening that through the biometric enrollment or biometric deduplication. Through this unique data, when it is already run around 2 or 3 years, in 2013, we are starting the utilization of the population data. So in 2013, we are starting our data that already enrolled through biometric enrollment for the utilization for verification. At the time, there is no one believed to verify data to Dukcapil because the data is not unique. Someone can have more than one data in some location. In that situation, Dukcapil still print the physical card. The physical card is very costly for Dukcapil because the card is provided by the government. Because based on our regulation, identity is a right of the citizen, and it is obligation for a government to provide the identity for all who already have an obligation to get an identity card. So because of that situation, it is a right for the citizen, it is an obligation for the government, then government have to provide it for free. Because we have to provide it for free and we are issuing the physical ID card, not like in Aadhaar, right? Aadhaar didn't print out the physical card. That's why it is cheap. We have to print the card, and the card not only card but the card with the chip inside. It make the cost of the card is more expensive. In calculation currently, current situation, the cost around 10,000 rupiah per card. So can you imagine that if we have to print out 30 million, 30 million record card each day, not each day, each every years, we have to spend huge amount of money. Even though in our regulation, we already revised our regulation that the card is not only valid for 5 years. Usually in the previous regulation that the card is valid only for 5 years, right? So in every 5 years, it means that we have to print out the card in a mass program because of the expiry date is almost same, right? Almost same in people who registered in 2011. So the regulation also already replaced by implemented that the card, the physical card is not have limitation. So there is no expiry period in the card. So even though there is no expiry period, there is still many cards that need to be replaced every year. At that time, by the ID, we hope that actually to print out the card will be reduced very significant because of the expiry become the lifetime. But for the people who have something that replaced in the biodata, in the demographic data, in the physical card, such as I have my marital status, and then I have to replace that. I have to print it out with a new card. That make every year, in average, we still need 30 million card need to be print out, new card. While the new incoming record based on the data only around 5 million years for new a new citizen who have an obligation to get an identity card, because in Indonesia we only have obligation to get an identity card, national identity card, since we are 17 years old. So the growth is 5 million, but we have to print out 30 million. So we have 25 million card need to be print, not because of new incoming record, new citizen who have an obligation for getting the identity card. So 30 million card multiplied by 10,000, it is a huge amount of money. That's why we try to reduce that cost, to print out the physical card by implementing the mobile ID, how to transfer the physical card to the digital format in the mobile application. This also brings us an idea that actually we have to find out the solution, the big solution, how to provide the online services in a very secure and safe and good mechanism. That's why it also bring us to the idea that we need something that we call to identify us in online environment. It is a digital ID. It's bring us to the idea that digital ID is something important for Indonesia to bring us can participate in the online mechanism to process the services through online mechanism. That's why in 2022 we launched the mobile application that not only for show the physical digital format of the physical KTP, but also used for authenticate someone in a personal online mechanism through the mobile application. Currently, we already have 11 million, more than 11 million, and already try to utilize in some sectors such as in banking and also in the government. Currently, the Indonesia government also have an initiative to accelerate digital government in Indonesia. We call it SBBA acceleration for digitalization, and we also will bring our digital ID initiative, our IKD, to help the government to achieve that process as fast as possible, because we know that every government initiative relating to the online services such as digital government and digital economy, digital ID is one foundational aspect for for that, because digital ID is one of the foundational aspect in digital public infrastructure. Yes, we do believe that actually digital ID is a foundation, but later than digital ID will let another government or private sector to create additional value on top of their services through accessing to our digital identity. As I mentioned before, that actually we are already starting to utilize our data through the digital mechanism since 2013. And since that time, I think even though there is no study yet, but in some kind of assumption that actually in the beginning, in back then in 2011, I don't think so that banking or financial inclusion in Indonesia already reached more than 20% at the time back to 2010. But currently, I wrote that the banking or the financial inclusion maybe already reached more than 50 or 70%. Even though there is no study, we do believe because uh, since beginning 2013, there are so many banking that also use our data through the uh, connection to Dukcapil to verify the the citizen. And now so many banks that have mobile bank application already use their eKYC to Dukcapil to our office to create the mobile banking application uh, from uh, their own banking. So, for example, we have big bank in Indonesia like National Owned Bank Indonesia, BRI, BNI, and also Mandiri. They also have their own application, and their own application can utilize our eKYC, not only digital ID but eKYC as well, to make sure that they will have integrity for the citizen when they try to register that application. And just now we have discussed with one of the uh, what we call it in Indonesia. It is like digital wallet for money. Uh, Uang digital, we call it digital money, right? Digital money. Dana, one of the provider of the digital money in Indonesia, active user. So can you imagine that the bank, the financial institution, this fintech company, established in 2019. They already have more than 70 million user active. So it is something that cannot be achieved through the traditional method, because we have BRI, a bank, national bank, that have brands across the country, and they even already have their own brand here in Indonesia even before we proclaim our independent days. Now they don't have more than 50 million user active. So can we imagine that the fintech, one of the fintech, have more than 70 million user less than 6 years? Why the other company that have a traditional method that already established here more than this country uh, less than 50 million. I think this is what digital ID as part of DPI can be accelerated to help another parties or another government and private sector to grow and have another additional value for the customer and the citizen. Yes, currently we already have digital wallet in our national digital identity, but I don't think so. It is already based on the international standard, right? We in our national digital identity (IKD) already can not only store the national identity format, but also can store the another uh, population data format in our digital ID. But of course, in the future, we will bring that learn more to another country experience about how to create a digital wallet, very standard digital wallet based on the international best practice, bring it to our national digital identity, Pak. we are starting deployment all of this on our in-house deployment, Pak. So we use our local expert to help Dukcapil, collaborate with Dukcapil to develop SIA system and also IKD in the beginning. But since 2019, I think we already tried to collaborate with World Bank, and we really work together with World Bank in 2022 or 23. So based on the collaboration with World Bank, of course, we can learn many things from another country because World Bank also have an experience collaborate with another country, more than 50 country maybe, to develop their own digital ID. So currently from our local in-house, then we try to bring it to the international standard and best practice what we have now, collaborating with World Banks. That's why we are very happy we can share our experience, and we also can learn from the globes about what is the best practice. Of course, we cannot adapt directly from another country. We have to make some kind of adjustment with the Indonesian context. I think for country who want to be like Indonesia, the political will of the government is very important to make sure that we have to create the uh, better administration for the citizen identification. And also, I think better if one country just start compared to just start first, just start, jump to the ID without mix any kind of study, any kind of any other consideration. So it is better you just uh, jump to the action and then try to fix everything while you are doing what you are doing. So like us, we build it in house, but then slowly we fix what need to be fixed to meet the best standard based on the international and based on what we want to reach in our local standard, Pak.
Sistem identitas nasional dan juga pencatatan sipil yang telah terbangun tentu saja menjadi modal penting dalam mewujudkan hal tersebut. Namun demikian, kami juga sampaikan bahwasanya untuk menyimpan data lebih dari 200 juta penduduk, tentu saja keamanan data seperti yang tadi saya sampaikan menjadi prioritas yang utama. Dan tentu saja kami berkomitmen untuk terus memperkuat infrastruktur teknologi informasi dan komunikasi. Dan tentu saja menerapkan mekanisme keamanan siber yang handal untuk melindungi data warga negara. Terkait dengan tersebut, maka kami sebagai lembaga pengelola data, kami menerapkan suatu sistem keamanan berdasarkan ISO 27001. Lah, kepada lembaga pengguna pun yang mengakses pemanfaatan data kependudukan juga diharuskan menerapkan sistem keamanan yang sama, yakni melalui ISO 27001. Tentu saja sebelumnya sudah kami lakukan proof of concept atau POC terhadap sistem yang mereka gunakan. Dan kemudian juga kami juga terus tidak akan bosan untuk melakukan edukasi kepada masyarakat. Begitu pentingnya perlindungan data pribadi. Karena apa? Karena untuk negara seperti Indonesia ini masih cukup banyak masyarakat yang belum sadar atau perlu disadarkan agar mereka pun juga mampu melindungi data pribadinya. Dan kami tambahkan bahwasanya saat ini sudah ada kurang lebih 6.575 lembaga pengguna yang telah melakukan kerjasama dengan Ditjen Kependudukan dan Pencatatan Sipil Kementerian Dalam Negeri, kurang lebih 4.200 adalah lembaga daerah, dan sekitar 2.300 sekian adalah lembaga pusat dan private sektor. Dan terhitung kurang lebih mulai 2015 sampai dengan saat ini, yang hit untuk verifikasi sangat besar. Jadi hit verifikasinya kurang lebih yang sudah ada sampai saat ini sekitar 15,5 miliar hit verifikasi dari berbagai lembaga pengguna, khususnya lembaga di tingkat pusat dan lembaga-lembaga private sektor ataupun yang swasta. Itu mungkin yang bisa saya sampaikan untuk pertanyaan yang kedua. Jadi bisa saya sampaikan secara fundamental pendekatan DPI tidak hanya menyangkut sektor pemerintahan, tapi juga private sektor, swasta, tapi juga kepada seluruh elemen masyarakat. Dan tentu saja hal ini menempatkan sebagai suatu program yang sangat strategis yang mendorong keselarasan dan pemanfaatan oleh seluruh stakeholder atau oleh seluruh pemangku kepentingan, sehingga pada akhirnya dapat meningkatkan dampak atau impact yang positif yang kita harapkan atau yang tentu saja yang akan kita hasilkan. Tadi saya sudah sampaikan bahwasanya sampai dengan saat ini kurang lebih ada 6.575 lembaga pengguna yang sudah bekerja sama dengan Ditjen Kependudukan dan Pencatatan Sipil Kementerian Negeri untuk akses pemanfaatan data. Yang sangat besar melakukan akses adalah lembaga-lembaga di tingkat pusat dan private sektor. Untuk private sektor, tidak hanya pada sektor perbankan atau keuangan, tapi juga sektor-sektor lainnya. Ada sektor telekomunikasi misalnya, dan juga sosial. Jadi nanti kita juga berharap Inapas sebagai Digital ID Nasional Indonesia itu nanti juga akan dikembangkan menjadi semacam dompet digital atau digital wallet yang tidak hanya mampu menampung dokumen-dokumen kependudukan, tapi juga dokumen-dokumen lainnya yang akan terintegrasi dengan berbagai layanan digital, baik layanan digital yang digerakkan oleh pemerintah, government, ataupun layanan digital pada private sektor. Ini kita akan juga menuju ke sana. Tapi untuk tahun ini, kita masih fokus kepada layanan digital government, yakni sistem pemerintahan berbasis elektronik untuk 9 layanan digital SBE, yang ke depan pastinya akan kita juga menuju kepada layanan digital secara komprehensif, secara utuh, baik itu government, private sector, bahkan juga pastinya nanti akan ada lapisan masyarakat. Oleh karena itulah sekarang, di dalam pengembangan DPI, identitas digital itu juga akan nanti dikombinasi dengan kita sebut sebagai portal layanan nasional. Akan ada portal pelayanan publik yang kemungkinan akan diberikan nama Inaku, ataukah juga mungkin nanti akan ada portal administrasi pemerintahan untuk melayani kepegawaian para pegawai negeri sipil atau ASN yang kemungkinan akan diberikan nama sebagai InaGov. Jadi, sekali lagi untuk Digital ID Nasional, Inapas sedang ditingkatkan dan juga diintegrasikan dengan portal layanan publik nasional. Yang tadi saya sebut, akan ada portal pelayanan publik yang kita sebut sebagai Inaku, insya Allah, kemudian juga ada portal administrasi pemerintahan yang akan disebut sebagai Inagov. Yang tentu saja ini nanti akan menerapkan suatu sistem single sign-on atau SSO. Dan kami saat ini sedang melakukan integrasi dengan berbagai layanan digital yang lain. Misalnya adalah dengan Kementerian Kesehatan, yakni dengan aplikasi Satu Sehat, portal tentang informasi kesehatan yang dikembangkan oleh Kementerian Kesehatan. Demikian juga dengan BPJS Kesehatan, dengan Direktorat Jenderal Imigrasi, misalnya untuk paspor, dan juga dengan perusahaan-perusahaan swasta lainnya. Misalnya sekarang dengan perbankan juga sudah ada, dengan BNI, misalnya untuk Wonder, untuk Bank Jawa Timur, demikian juga sudah, dan beberapa hal yang lain. Saat ini kami sedang membahas dengan berbagai kementerian lembaga untuk pengembangan lebih lanjut secara komprehensif. Yang pertama yang sangat penting adalah bagaimana kita membangun fondasi yang kuat dan juga visi yang jelas. Dimulai dengan pemahaman menyeluruh tentang ekosistem ID yang ada dan untuk memperkuat kapabilitasnya. Kemudian merumuskan visi yang tegas dan jelas tentang bagaimana DBI dapat mentransformasi layanan publik dan mengatasi tantangan utama pada masing-masing negara yang tentu saja punya karakteristik yang berbeda-beda. Misalnya di Indonesia, tentu saja tadi yang sudah sebutkan adalah karena negara kita begitu besar, negara Indonesia begitu besar, terdiri dari lebih 17.000 pulau, kemudian juga ada berbagai perbedaan infrastruktur satu daerah dengan lain, makanya digital ID di kita ini sangat penting. Tapi kita juga menyadari kondisi itu tidak serta-merta kemudian menggantikan digital ID itu kepada KTPL yang konvensional atau identitas digital yang konvensional. Jadi untuk sementara akan tetap berjalan beriringan. Yang kedua, tentu saja adalah bagaimana kita mampu memprioritaskan inklusivitas dan aksesibilitas. Pendekatan DBI harus dirancang untuk mencakup semua segmen penduduk dan juga mempertimbangkan kebutuhan beragam dari berbagai wilayah, kelompok sosial ekonomi, dan juga individu untuk menghindari perluasan kesenjangan digital. Jadi perlu saya sampaikan bahwasanya dalam pelayanan kependudukan dan catatan sipil yang dilakukan oleh Ditjen Dukcapil Kementerian Dalam Negeri itu melibatkan paling tidak 514 dinas dukcapil kabupaten dan kota yang ada di seluruh Indonesia.